You can build a turtle fence. Wrong defense. Build a turtle fence. Minecraft would be super fun right about now. Actually, I love Minecraft. It's so fun to chop down trees. Maybe shear a sheep.
Welcome to the Super Gamer Podcast. Welcome to the new Super Gamer Podcast, episode 114. Our guest this week is an avant-pop pianist and singer-songwriter currently working on a debut release for later this year, the Indigenous Music Development Coordinator at Manitoba Music.
Oh, I'm actually not that anymore.
Oh, formerly the Indigenous Music Development Coordinator at Manitoba Music, has a podcast radio show, Songsmiths, formerly Winnipeg Music Project, but it is on COVID-induced hiatus. Classic episodes, I believe, still play on 101.5 UMFM Tuesday at 2. They have been a juror for the Polaris Music Prize, Prism Music Prize, Factor, the Western Canada Music Awards, and served on the board of directors for 101.5 UMFM Radio and the Rainbow Trout Music Festival. We have Kwiat. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And wow, you did your research?
You have a lot of stuff.
Very busy, yeah.
So, as I was saying to you before we started here, and I will say to the listeners, this is obviously a gaming geek culture podcast, and you are primarily a musician and not necessarily a gaming musician, but you definitely qualify for this show because if I go off your Twitch streaming and even your website, games seem to be a big part of your brand.
Yeah. I played games all my life, and when I kind of learned about Twitch and how you can kind of do that and share your games that you play with a community, I was kind of really into the idea, and I couldn't wait to get started.
And you have your own community Minecraft server, too.
I do, yeah. It's not as active as it once was because I've been busy with wrapping up work. But yeah, we have a little community hangouts on Minecraft, on a Minecraft server.
So I've played a lot of Minecraft. I haven't lately, but I didn't do a lot of like the community server stuff, and I'm always confused about like, can anyone like change what's going on in your world? You know, what if you build something and someone just comes and takes it down?
I guess it really depends on how you set up your server. Our first server that we did was actually a heavily modded like fantasy world server with like dragons and fairies and all these really cool mods, and you actually had to be whitelisted to get on. So we kind of knew who everyone was, and everyone would respect that. There's like no griefing or just no stealing and things like that, and just being respectful of each other. And we were kind of a community. I was mostly building a castle, and everyone else was kind of like playing all like the little bosses that you can do or gathering certain materials. And this new version of it is along the same lines, except it's just vanilla survival. So it's just like regular Minecraft.
Cool. You've actually done a song about Minecraft, an auto-tuned song that I loved. Like, I love the auto-tuner. I love the sound, and I very much enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you. It was I got a voice mod app on my Stream Deck, and it has this one. I guess it's like a bass line, and it modifies your voice. So we would just fool around with it on stream, and it became a whole Minecraft song. Well, not a whole Minecraft song, but a whole shtick. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You're also a big Legend of Zelda fan. I know you own at least one Zelda t-shirt.
I do. Yes. I grew up absolutely loving Legend of Zelda. Some of my earliest memories with video games is watching my dad play. I can't remember which one it was. It's one of the older ones for like Super Nintendo, but also growing up watching him play Ocarina of Time is one of the highlights of my childhood. And I do have a couple shirts. I have one that has the Hyrule symbol on it, or that you can find on the shield that Link carries, and I have one that has the Ocarina of Time rain song, and it just says "Make it rain" underneath.
Cool.
Those are the two I have, I think.
So you mentioning your dad playing, this brings up, you're not like way younger than me. You're younger than me enough, though. And evidently, like, my parents certainly weren't playing games, and I was playing, the Super Nintendo Zelda and Ocarina, all that. But when I look through your games list on your site, like, you've played games like Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, so obviously you're kind of into the retro thing.
Yeah, well, actually, the retro games that we started off because I remember my dad having a copy of Myst, and I had tried to play it when I was really, really young, and I just couldn't understand it. Also, the Indiana Jones game, he had that, and I was trying to play it. And I actually beat the Indiana Jones when I was a kid, but we replayed it on my stream for the nostalgia. And we've been dabbling in some of the games that other reviewers have recommended, or things that I've just always wanted to play. So I've been really enjoying the retro stuff. It's kind of quirky, sometimes frustrating, but I mean, that's kind of goes with the territory.
Right. So when you were working at, do you still work at Manitoba Music, like in a different capacity?
I actually, tomorrow's my last day.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, my question is, as far as Manitoba Music, is video game music, like, obviously Manitoba, Winnipeg, like, has an awesome music scene. I went to a lot of punk shows when I was younger.
Nice.
That still goes on. But what about video game music? Is that on the radar at all of, like, Manitoba music?
It's tricky. Like, we do want to engage artists who do composition, and artists who are wanting to get into sync, and getting their music into like movies, film, video games is always an option. We haven't jumped into too much, but we are definitely interested in it, and we've talked about doing workshops because there is this scene of video games being made here in Winnipeg. It's actually, we're getting a new, I can't remember which organization it is, but we're going to have a big gaming thing here in Winnipeg as well.
I think Ubisoft is expanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we haven't done much with it, but it's very similar with just with other artists who want to have high quality recordings that can be synced into film and TV shows and be used in those purposes, and just being prepared for your royalty collection and what you need. So kind of along those lines, you could definitely get something out of Manitoba Music if that's the route you want to go.
Are you interested in games music at all? Like, whether listening to, or would you like to, write for, or anything like that?
It's always been in the back of my mind. I'm actually getting really into production right now. I've taken a couple production courses. I've been involved in some really great production programming. I actually just got a grant to work with some local producers to just really dive into production and really know how to like churn out like demos and express myself in that way. And the idea has always come up where it's like, oh, I could make some soundtrack stuff, or get involved in that gaming community, because it is close to my heart and it is really fun and there's lots of potential there. So definitely one day, but not right now.
Well, you have a song, "A Day Without the Dawn," that someone commented on that it sounds like it would be good in a story-based game. That's pretty cool. You weren't even really trying for that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. A Day with yeah, that's right. That's actually one that I'm going to be recording for my EP this year, and I hadn't really thought of it in a gaming capacity because it's just a very personal song. But I'd be totally down.
Well, then maybe this is an unfair question or ask, but I was going to ask if you can describe, if it were to be in a game, can you describe the scene that's playing out while your song is going? With
the sound that I'm hearing in my head before, because this has been produced quite yet, but it's the story behind the song is actually right after my grandfather passed away, and it was this idea of waking up one day and that person not being there anymore. And his name was Don. And I kind of obviously related that to the rising sun. And what if you woke up and there just was no sun there? So maybe it could be in a moment like that where it's something serious has happened to a family member, or it's like a montage of the character going home, or walking through a sad field or something.
Did your grandpa inspire you or have anything to do with you learning music?
No, we actually weren't very close when I was growing up. Like, he came over a few times, and I care for him deeply. But it wasn't actually until the last couple years we actually started to rekindle our relationship, and I was playing a few songs for him when I would go over to his place, or when he was camping, and he was always, I could see like a light in his eyes when I played, and it was really special. But he wasn't like a driving force or anything.
Mm-hmm. Going back to streaming on Twitch, you, in an article for the Uniter, you said to stand out on Twitch, you should do things organically. What does that mean?
That's a great question. I think what I was trying to say is, if you are trying to emulate another streamer because you think that's popular, or you think that's what people want to see, it's very rarely going to actually work out for you, because you're trying to emulate something that is not you. And it's already been done by someone. And if you really want to be someone who, creates a community that people can recognize and relate to, is just to really just embrace who you are, embrace your flaws, embrace your strengths and your weaknesses, and do what makes you happy on camera.
Even if that's wearing a gorilla suit.
Yeah, that was actually really easy for me to do. I've always been a little weird. I was a weird kid in school, and so awkward. And I always wanted to fit in, and I obsessed so much with, doing my hair a certain way, like straightening it because all the girls had it straight, or wearing my makeup a certain way, or dressing a certain way. And in the last, I would maybe, oh my God, 10 years, I've really just learned to love that. I love to be silly, and I'm weird, and I love bright colors, and I love gorilla costumes, and it's a safer space on my, I mean, not all the time, but on my streaming, or on my streams. It's a place I feel I can really be myself, and I'm very thankful for that.
Do you get the same people watching whether you're playing music on stream or playing games on stream, or is it like a different crowd?
It's a little of both. I have a few regulars who will just pop in it's just to see me kind of thing. It sounds so vain, but I see them as my virtual friends, and it's like, oh, hey, what are you doing today? Like, oh, I love this song, or oh, I love this game you're playing, or how are you doing? And it's just kind of talking while I'm doing whatever. But there are some people who gravitate more to the music, and then others who don't care for it, which is fine, right?
And would you say the game streaming, has that helped you build a fan base at all for your music?
I think so. I went into streaming at first honestly, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I didn't know if I wanted to be like just a music streamer or just a gaming streamer. And I kind of been going back and forth and really trying to figure out what I want to do with it, and in terms of branding, because that's the thing that I have to worry about. But I definitely stick to gaming for large chunks of time when I'm either changing my setup for music, or I was having some really bad audio issues for a little while. And I think the gaming definitely helped, because it's something that it's usually more accessible to people, and not everyone's a musician, but maybe everyone's either watched a playthrough on YouTube or has played the game, and there's lots to talk about with that. So I would definitely say that gaming has helped.
Cool. You told us already about watching your dad play and kind of how you got into games, but similar question. You started playing piano, you started piano lessons, I believe, at age 3. Do you know what age you were when you started playing games?
I'm not too sure. Like I have so many memories of just, watching my dad maybe like grabbing the controller when he stepped away or something. Like
Do you have any memory of him being like, "No, you killed me"?
no. I was usually just really excited to watch him play. I do remember one time we were so close on Ocarina of Time. We were about to beat Gandalf at the very, very end. And my brother, who's 4 years younger than me, reset the entire save file. So my dad had to replay it to get back to the point so I could watch him.
Oh, no.
But I don't really remember. I wasn't too big on consoles when I was younger. I was actually more of a computer player. Like I loved these learning games that I got when I was younger. Oh man, I totally forgot about those. But just
Number Munchers was a favorite of mine.
Which one?
Number Munchers.
Number Munchers.
We had that in school, and it was just like you were like a frog thing, and you had to do equations.
Oh, okay, man, this is unlocking a memory. I completely forgot about those games. They're like Flash games you could get on a CD. Sometimes you could get them in like cereal boxes, I think. Mm-hmm. And you unlock different songs or different puzzles and different mini games in it. And I was obsessed with those. Oh man, I totally forgot. I have to find out what those are called so I can play them again. I really loved those. And playing like retro games like the Indiana Jones because my dad played it, and trying out Myst, and then really getting into The Sims actually. But because my brother was really into the consoles and kind of consumed all of that, I couldn't really jump in. We played a couple things together, and I played the occasional Zelda or Fable or Smash Bros with him or like Wario World and things. But I think I leaned more towards the PC and those little kid games that you could play.
That's probably good you didn't have to fight for who got to play then.
Oh yeah, because I was also better than him. So when we would play things, and I remember I beat him in a game and I was like, haha, and he hit me with the controller.
Yeah. I definitely, as a kid, I have a vivid memory of, like, I was too old at this point to be doing this, but a friend beat me and I like went to punch him and he like recoiled, and I just remember thinking like, oh, I can't be doing that.
Yeah, sometimes that's how you learn, right?
Yeah. What game soundtrack? Well, what do you think's the best one, or which one like stays with you?
Well, I mean, obviously Legend of Zelda. Like that's ingrained. I'm clearly a really big Legend of Zelda fan. I've been wanting to actually get a tattoo, like the Triforce for years because it's such an important game to me. But I just, tried learning all the songs on the piano. I was obsessed with it. Definitely Ocarina, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. Those are just immediately come to mind. I also really like the Mario soundtracks. Those are classic. Those are iconic. On stream, I started playing scary games. I never played those before streaming. And I was actually really impressed with the Outlast soundtrack. That was really fun to listen to. Like it was well written and not just jump, jump, jump. It's actually engaging and there's like strings or something. And I'd recommend people play that if you like soundtracks.
And jump scares. You had a few.
So many.
Cool, yeah. It seems like you've been really getting into the horror games.
Yeah. It flipped some kind of switch in me.
Well, if I may recommend, it's, I guess, pretty old at this point, but Amnesia, if you haven't played that one.
Oh, I don't know if I can play that one. I know it's kind of silly now. Like the monster and everything has been memed so much, but I watched PewDiePie play it way back in the day, and Outlast was so hard to play because I am terrified of being like chased like that and hiding. Like the amount of adrenaline I get is not even fun. So I don't know. Maybe one day, but definitely not right now.
Have you ever played Transistor? Totally not a horror game.
No.
Okay, Transistor, as far as the whole story, is about a singer who loses her voice, and I mean, it's much deeper than that. It's really, really good. One of my favorite games. I very much recommend
Oh,
it.
wow. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. Oh, that does remind me, though. I also really liked Journey.
That might be my favorite game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When it first came out, I played it over and over and over again because I loved the interaction with like other players, and I spent so much time helping other people because I just loved the game so much, and finding all the little whatever they're called now, but little markers or little points that you had to get. And you got all were like a little white. You had a white
like scarf.
cape or scarf. Yeah.
Yeah, I went into that. No, my friend, my roommate at the time, was like, "Yeah, try this." I had nothing, like I knew nothing about it, and I actually didn't know, and played the whole game stupidly, not catching on. My 6-axis was broken, so, like, you know how you like move the controller to move your character. My character spun constantly, and I was like, "This is a really weird thing that this game has. Like, I have to fight this the whole time." And I finished the whole game like that before catching on, like, oh, it's my controller.
Right.
You played your first game of D&D this year.
I did. Yes, I did. Some friends I met actually through streaming. A few people had asked a couple times, but I just couldn't make it work on my schedule. But in the last couple months, they invited me and I created a character, and we've been meeting every second week, and it's really fun. I didn't realize just how much RPGs are like, rooted in D&D, and how they're like the same. And it's really cool. I have to learn all of my skills and spells and stuff a little bit better because I don't really know them, and how to use them in every context. But it's kind of, I loved playing pretend with friends when I was a kid. Like, that's all we did every single recess. We would pretend to be things and play, and it's kind of brings me back to those days where we just get to be like, it's fun to pretend, and it's allowed as adults, which I appreciate.
Can you tell us about your character?
Sure, yeah. Her name is Nikamo, which means she sings in Cree. And she is a tiefling with purple skin and gold hair, and she is a bard who plays, the lute and those, and is charismatic and kind of outgoing, and yeah.
Makes sense. You're a bard.
I know. I immediately was drawn to that. I wanted something that I've always been like, in any kind of game, I always like lean towards like the healers or like support characters like that. I'm not very much of like a tank or like a what is it called? The other one.
DPS.
Yes, DPS. Thank you. I've always been like a healer, so it's just best of both worlds when you're a bard.
Right. The bard lets you be annoying to other people if you want to.
Yeah, one of my spells is vicious mockery. And like when you just like say mean things to people, and it's actually been really, really hard to think of things. And I've actually been using this Shakespeare insult generator for some of them.
That's cool.
I can't think of things sometimes.
That's cool. Can you think of one right now? A Shakespearean insult?
Oh, I'd have to pull up.
Okay, don't worry about it. On your Twitch stream, as we said, you play games, you play music, you draw, and I think you've already started doing this, but I think you had plans to actually do songwriting on stream.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done that, but we were just picking some chords and then thinking of something to talk about, and then people in chat would like suggest rhymes or suggest things to sing about, and we actually created like a few songs together. There's one about simps called The Symbiotic Relationship. There's one about landlords, one about social distance protesters. That was a hot topic. And one about social media influencers.
Cool. I imagine, well, maybe they will, but none of these are going to make it on the album.
No, no. I thought about making like a little EP of them and just like kind of sharing them, with people who in the community. But I haven't done it yet. I love to procrastinate.
I think most creative people do, or so I've been told.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the album. Planned for the fall, I believe, this fall. What can we expect? Broad question, I know.
Yeah, it took a long time to get to a place where I actually felt like I could record. I started in performing and stuff. I would say, but I've always been writing music, but I started performing in like 2015. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm going to be recording. Yeah, I'm going to record, da, 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 da. And I just couldn't find the sound that I wanted to lean into. And I performed under my own name for a while. And it wasn't until the pandemic that I really, and after lots of advice from mentors, decided to use a moniker and kind of embrace this alter ego kind of thing with the name Kwiat, and it allowed me to Kwiat I'm obviously quiet, it's still who I am, but I feel like I've given myself permission to share this colorful side of me, like with streaming or like this dramatic theatrical sound that I've always wanted to lean into. And during the pandemic, I've really embraced who I am, and I really want to develop as an artist. And I've been so involved in the industry for the past 5 years that I decided this is the time. I don't want to be introduced as just an industry person. As much as I love it and people I've met, and I'm so thankful, and there are so many great people in the industry, I really want to be an artist. And I applied for funding, and I've spoke with producers and studios and mentors and session players, and I finally have a little team around me to help make it possible. And I really feel like I found a sound that I can sit in and feel happy, even if it's going to change in the future or even in the studio. I finally feel ready to do this, and I'm very thankful that I put it off for so long so I could actually be happy with the end result.
I know when you started playing on stage, you weren't that comfortable playing in front of people, and over time you got more and more comfortable with it. Does that translate at all to recording? Is there anything you can take from, now I'm comfortable at a live show? Does that matter at all when you're in the studio?
They're definitely two different beasts. Absolutely. I've been very lucky to have some opportunities to go into studios and record things with other people for other projects. And I've definitely learned a lot about my voice when I'm in the studio versus when you're live. I think live is a little bit more forgiving. Well, obviously, because, if you go a little flat with something, you're live and you just move past it. But when you're in the studio, you have to redo it over and over again. And you really learn, do I like this song enough to record it? Because you're dissecting the song and really paying attention to every single part. So it really teaches you a lot about the song and you as a writer and how to listen to music. So I definitely obviously had live is great because you get to learn the song and put it into context with an audience, and maybe how you want it to format it or how you want it to deliver it. But in the studio, that comes into play, but you need to make decisions on what you want it to sound like, what instruments you want to bring in, which notes you want to sing in key, kind of thing. So
would it be ever fun at all, or would it just be too nerve-wracking to do a studio session while on Twitch? Obviously, not letting people write anything for you, but here's just the process, here's what I'm doing, and just have it on Twitch?
I really considered it, and I definitely want to do things like that. I think it would have to be on days that are a little lighter in terms of, because going into the studio is so expensive. Even if you have like a good deal with like your engineer and things, it could be a lot to be. I think I would want to have it closer to the end where things are already settled. Maybe we're just re-recording some things, but if people were in right from the very beginning, it could be really stressful having an audience, voicing their opinions when you're really just trying to experiment, maybe playing with sounds or redoing the same part like 17 times because you can't hit this one note. That could be a lot. So maybe towards the end, it would be really, really fun. And show some sneak peeks of what the song kind of sounds like. I'm definitely down for that.
I never really thought, but yeah, I can't imagine, someone just being like, oh, I don't like this part. And you're like, I really don't need that right now.
Well, and when you're recording it, like it's usually just the dry vocals without any audio effects. So that can be really hard to listen to sometimes, especially when you're kind of shaky on a certain note or it's just, just hearing it by itself I'm still getting used to that. Maybe some people love it, but I'm still getting used to loving the sound of my voice and accepting that I'm an alto. And I can't imagine doing that in front of stream just yet. I'm not there quite yet.
I have heard you say before. I mean, this is I think this is from a few years back. You didn't seem that confident in your voice, and you don't need me to tell you this, but I've heard you, on your stream, and you're a very good singer, and I especially like the way, I don't know how to describe this, but my friend describes it as the Kurt Cobain thing, where like you go from a regular note and then you kind of like go off key a bit, but like intentionally, if that makes sense. Like almost, I guess it's almost like going into falsetto and back like quickly.
Oh yeah, like a break. Like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
You're very good at that.
Thank you. I'm not very good at my mixed voice, where you have a little bit of head and chest to avoid that. So I've just embraced it, and like I'm a yodeler. I can't change who I am. Thank you. I'm definitely much more confident in my voice, and I think it's just because I've been working on it and practicing and doing technique work and just listening to myself more. Streaming's helped a lot with that, with like monitors and being able to just hear myself. Also doing the podcast helped a lot with that too, but not everyone listens to their voice every single day, so it can be hard sometimes. But it's getting better.
Cool. Well, I look forward to the album. If people want to check out what you're doing for now, Peace and Kwiat, that's KWIAT.com. Your podcast, which hopefully coming out of hiatus soon enough, songsmiths.ca. And you can be found on Twitch, on Twitter. Kwiat.
I don't know about Twitter anymore. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Is it the Musk thing?
I think so, yeah. I don't know how to feel about it.
I mean, I certainly don't like him. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know either, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Where else will we go?
Maybe we'll just go outside.
Kwiat, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.